Hello, premium members. Thank you so much for watching this review. So every Friday, part of the culture is to always look for some of the stock picks that we have recommended, and also see which one is performing, why are they performing, what are the lessons that we can learn from the particular stock or company. We will also be looking at stocks that are underperforming, but on this particular episode for this week, for this Friday, we are looking at uh, very particular stock that is been performing at least since last year, and this year is done very very well. So within the stock picks that we have, Deutsche Bank is one of the major stock picks that have actually performed on the portfolio. So apart from Palantir, apart from Robinhood, we have Deutsche Bank that we are looking at now. So I'm going to actually explain why is this stock performing, what are the key positives that has been been behind the momentum for this stock, what are also the uh, perhaps the expected headwinds, risks, or challenges that might actually either dampen this stock from performing further or even reduce the kind of expectation we have. So let's jump right in, and I actually thank everyone for being part of the premium community. We hope to actually continue to bring this newsletter to you. So let me jump right in now. So, by virtue of its position, Deutsche Bank is Germany's largest bank by assets, with an asset base, estimated to the region of 1.3 trillion, which is about 1.45 trillion in US dollars basis as of 2023. This bank really has been one of the most maybe talked about banks outside of the US since the end of the last global financial crisis. Deutsche Bank had a very, very rocky experience. As a matter of fact, they moved from being the largest bank in the world, and currently Deutsche Bank is about the 22nd largest bank in the world. So for you to actually see, the fall from grace, if you put it that way, but why did Deutsche Bank become what it is today? Deutsche Bank, the meaning is Germany's bank or German bank. They were actually behind the industrialization of Germany. As a matter of fact, during the Second World War, and some of the roles they played in that war, Deutsche Bank had to even make some corrections. But when the Berlin Wall actually fell, Deutsche Bank actually became bigger because they were restricted to the eastern part of Germany, or just Germany. But after the Second World War, this bank had that boost in the business, and they were able to expand across Europe, across the world, across North America, and they became a big global giant when it comes to investment banking and equities trading. So why am I saying this? We need to actually see where the bank is coming from. So the Deutsche Bank today is quite smaller in size compared to the Deutsche Bank that everybody in the global financial markets actually know in the mid 2000, early 2000, mid 2000. So now, what do we have? So when the bank had a whole lot of problems, a whole lot of legal regulatory problems at the end of the financial crisis 2007 to 2008, they paid a whole lot of fines. The bank had to actually close down its global equities business. The stock actually fell. I'm still going to show you the stock price and where I actually think this is going to. So early this year, I think that was January, we made Deutsche Bank one of the stock picks that we have outside of Wall Street, and that's because the bank has really, really changed direction in the last 3 years. They've gone through a whole lot of reforms. They've gone through a whole lot of reorganization. Like I said, they shut down their global equities business, and they are now focusing more on investment banking and corporate banking. So why is this bank still a bank that will perform? I'm going to show you the stock price so that you see how the market is actually reacting to the bank's activities, to the bank's commitment to actually reorganize. But when I looked at the entire story, the entire comeback story of Deutsche Bank, I have about five catalysts that is actually boosting the stock, and perhaps that's why this stock is more or less one of the best performing, banking stock in the world, at least for this year, since January to date. As a matter of fact, since last year, that momentum has built up. But number one, the strong financial performance of the bank is now much more better. The performance of the bank is much more better. They saw a 39% rise in the first quarter of last year in terms of their profit. And the revenue was really driven by the fixed income, currency trading, which is now the major part of what the bank actually does. Also, the revenue of the company actually increased. So their revenue is now projected to grow from between 5.5% to 6.5%, which is far ahead of about 3.5% to 4.5%. I know these numbers might be a bit not necessarily confusing, but just to show you why the bank is actually having some momentum in terms of the stock price. Also, the bank really did some reorganization, like I said. So they did they had a new direction in capital reorganization. They announced about 2.1 billion dollar 2.1 billion euros in capital distribution, which actually means that they are investing in the shares of the bank, of the company. So they did a share buyback and also dividends with about 50% payout ratio, which means they've actually increased the dividend that they are paying. So between 2021 and 2025, they are going to give back to shareholders about 8 billion euros in buybacks. So that's what actually is making Deutsche Bank to actually perform. Also, they've also reorganized the business as well. So if you see their stock, the stock has actually hit about $25 per share on the US stock market, and about 23 to 24 euros on the Zitra DAX, which is the German stock market. I'm going to get into the stock chart right away so that you can actually see what I think is the direction for this stock and why this stock is one of the best stock picks that we have for this year. So come with me. But before I do that, what I also want to point out is that you don't necessarily invest in a business because they continue to do well as a business. You also want to invest in the story of a business because you don't necessarily want to buy into a stock when the stock is at its peak. You want to buy into a stock or a company when the company is undervalued, when the company has crisis, and especially when this crisis is going to be dealt with in a way that the company or the bank might actually come out better. So the Deutsche Bank we have today is a bit more nimble, it's a bit more organized and more specific to what they actually do. And the German economy is the biggest economy in Europe. So with the way the German economy is now playing the biggest role in Europe, Deutsche Bank seems to be, that player that is going to actually take advantage of that. So I'll go into the charts now, and I'm going to actually, which is the most important part of this, review. What do I think as per the stock price, at least by January 2026? So come with me so that we can quickly look into that together. So, like I said, Deutsche Bank really has gone through a huge history, a huge background. And if you look at the chart, just zoom out of the chart, you could actually see that around this period, 2007, stroke 2008, that was when we had the global financial crisis, like I said, and the stock tanked heavily, and the bank had to actually do a whole lot of reorganization, and they had a whole lot of problems here. So all of this period was when the bank was, busy going to court, working with regulators. They paid a whole lot of fines, at least I think about almost $8 billion dollars in fine, if not euros, €8 billion of dollars in fines. And you could actually see that this was the most trying time for this bank. But if you look at the last 1 year, the story has actually flipped, and Deutsche Bank seems to be on a trajectory that is more positive. The bank now has a more stronger base to actually grow from here. So if you look at the market cap, for instance, if I come to this side, you could actually see that the market cap is now about 51.27 billion dollars. You could also see that between that time and now, in the last 1 year, the stock has moved. I'll go back to the chart now so that you see the stock has moved all the way from about $16 or even 13 $13, excuse me, $13 per share, 13 to $14 per share, and as of today, it now trades about 26, $26, which is almost nearing double of what it was trading for when the bank was very, very low. So now, what do I think? What do I think Deutsche Bank is going to do by January 2026? Because now we started this year and we're already at the end of April, and the 1st of May today. So what that means is by January 2026, I actually believe that this bank could be trading in the region of about 35 to the region of $38 per share. So depending on which part of the world you are, you can search for DB, which is the ticker symbol. I'll drop everything in this description of the review. You can search for DBK or DB. The DB is the US version of the stock on the US on the New York Stock Exchange, and the DBK is the version in the ZDAX in Frankfurt Stock Exchange. So basically, this bank now is going to be perhaps one of the best performing stock, at least in the next 2 or 3 years, because they are now on that trajectory to recover a whole lot of grounds that they've lost. When this bank was doing very well in before the financial crisis, they were trading at around close to about $90 billion in valuation in market cap. Now that they are around the region of about $51 billion dollars in valuation. So they have a whole lot of ground to cover, and it seems Deutsche Bank's story, if I go back 5 years, you could actually see its consistent growth. It's now more of a comeback story. What are the risks that I see before I close this review? I see some of the risks that has to do with the trade policies in the US, and how Germany is able to actually negotiate with the US, and perhaps if Germany has a very good deal with the US vis-a-vis the EU, Deutsche Bank is likely to continue to rally. You can actually see in the last 5 years, Deutsche Bank has returned about 266%, which was a far cry from where it was coming from, but is a very good performance. So if you had bought 5 years ago, you've bagged a huge return, especially when it's coming from a bank, not even a tech company. So also another risk that I see is if we continue to see more hostilities in Europe, if you look at the Russian-Ukraine war, you could actually see that around that time when that war was about to start, and when the war started, you could actually see around 30th of September in 2022, Deutsche Bank stock actually, took a hit. Although the bank really, because they were the biggest bank, they are the biggest bank in Europe, and they will be mostly affected. So if Europe and Ukraine Russian war ends, which we are getting to a resolution, a ceasefire, we are likely to actually see this bank stock rally, because there might be a handshake that will be given to Russia, and Russia might actually want to integrate into the European and global economy. So if that happens, for instance, Deutsche Bank's business is going to actually benefit hugely, just like they benefited when the Berlin Wall came down. If Russia is now going to be back into the global financial markets, Deutsche Bank is going to play a very big story, a very big role in bringing back Russia to the global economy. So that's it for this update, so that we can also take stock. So if you have any question, if you have any feedback at all, if there's anything that is not clear to you, please reply to this email, and I'm going to take time to actually reply everyone that actually ask any question or any clarification. We at Stockertim, we have position in the stock, and we actually believe $35 to $38 by 2026 January is actually something that is possible. So I'll close on that note. I'll be waiting for your question. Thank you so much for being part of this premium community.